are now listening to Gotta Let You Know podcast with your girl, Shauna Sagaji. Now let's get it.
Hello, we're back. This is Shauna Sagaji, and today's topic is we're going to talk about debt. Yeah, being in debt, how to get out of debt, and what you do when you're out of debt, all that good stuff and more. So I've been out of debt for some number of years now. My major debt that I had was student loans. So honestly, you know how you're growing up, you might have had that mom or that grandmother that told you, hey, they're going to send you credit cards once you graduate from high school, and you're going to be tempted to like get it, but don't. I was one of those kids that listened and didn't get it. Send me all the credit cards you want. I don't want them, right? My mama said it's a trap. My grandma said it's a trap, and I believe them, so I stayed away from them. So that was a good thing. I didn't fall for that, but I still had thousands of dollars in student loans. And to be honest, once it was come time to pay them, I was like, well, I guess I'm dying in debt because I ain't paying that bit of nothing back. And a lot of people have that mindset, and I shouldn't have. And my mindset has changed. Once I start making the kind of money where I could pay it off, that's when I was like, you know what? I'm going to pay it off. And then once I was done paying it off, it was like, ooh, this feels nice. This feels good. I feel like all the world has opened up to me. It's true, because I remember like during my college, my grandmother was like, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to pay your cell phone bill while you're in college. And I was like, cool, that's a bill I don't have to worry about. Once I got out of college, it was like, all right, it's time for you to start paying your own bill. So I was like, all right, that's fair. Let's do it. So when I went to go get my own cell phone bill and all, it was like, okay, yeah, we need a deposit of like $700. And I was like, wait, come again now? And what I didn't know is they go based off your credit. I'm like, what? Cell phones and all that go based off your credit? So yeah, that's when it registered like, okay, yeah, I don't know. Either I'm just gonna die in debt, or we got to figure something out. And that's when I start making payments. And eventually I was able just to pay the whole thing off. And after that, like I said, I felt free. I felt beautiful. I felt like, yeah, the world is mine. I can do whatever I want now. And that's how I want you guys to feel getting out of debt. So there's two types of ways of paying off debt, right? There's the snowball effect, and then there's the avalanche effect. I end up going the avalanche route. I can't even speak right now. I went the avalanche effect or avalanche style. Basically, the snowball effect is when you say you have 3 different debts, 3 things you owe people, 3 loans. One, you owe somebody $500. One, you owe somebody $1,000, and the other person you owe $2,000. The snowball effect is where you pay the smallest debt first and slowly build your way up. I paid the $500 this year. Next year, I'm paying off the $1,000. A year after that, I'm paying off the $3,000, right? The avalanche effect is when you pay the biggest one straight off the bat, and then you go down. I did the biggest one first and went straight down. So a lot of people need that small effect, because if you go straight for the big one, say you owe $10,000 every month, you paying $100 here, $50 there. It feels like you ain't really it's like, dang, that balance is still thousands and thousands of dollars. Nothing's really changing. And you kind of feel depleted, and it's like, dang, they steady draining my bank accounts, draining my money. I could really use this money. This $300 could really be used somewhere else. But here I'm paying this bill that look like it's not going nowhere. A lot of people need that snowball effect where, no, they focus on the small amount first, and they're like, once they get that first amount out, it's like, oh, I did it. I paid off one of my debts. Oh, yeah, let's keep this going. I like that feeling. A lot of people need that. I wasn't necessarily trying to do it that way. It's just I didn't have a lot of debt. And like I said, one of my major debts was the student loan. So, of course, I focused on the big one because I only really had the big one. So, yeah, I eventually paid that off, and it felt amazing. So I say that to say I can relate to those who are like, yo, I don't have that money. I guess I'm just going to be in debt then. I want you to change your mindset. Once you pay off your debt, you have so many other opportunities, so many other chances, so many other doors open up to you. Doors you didn't even know were closed until they show you, hey, You want to come over here and do this? I'm going to talk about those doors later. But first, I want to talk about how, like, I know not everybody's got to experience the fact of, like, I wouldn't say randomly out of nowhere getting large sums of money, but sometimes a lot of people come into money, whether it's just like, for instance, like last year, the stimulus check, people had large sums of money-ish come out their way. What did you do with it? Did you put it towards debt, or did you just blow it on, random stuff that you really didn't need? I say that to say is because if you come into money, I say target your debts. Don't target, people a lot of times target things that they want. Oh, I got a little money. I'm finally going to get this that I want to get that I want. I say don't worry about that. That stuff can come later. Focus on your debt. There's a lot of ways you can cut out like debt. You can like start cutting your expenses. Like, okay, this month I'm not going to be eating out every month. I know you guys have heard this. I'm not going to eat out every month. I'm going to start cooking. I say take it even a step further. Like, not only do you cook, but you cook the cheapest meals. I'm not saying ramen noodle it up. I say you can cook cheaper meals. For instance, there's this, I shouldn't be talking about no chicken rice meal, but there's this meal that I like to make all the time, and it's so cheap to make. It literally costs, I think, $10 to make, and it's like a rice chicken bowl, and it could last you 3 days if you're eating by yourself. I'm saying be frugal with your money so you can be fancy with your cuisines later. Now, I want to say, if you say you don't have student loan debt, say your biggest debt is credit cards. Here's the thing about credit cards. I say people's biggest downfall with credit cards is spending money that they don't have. Credit cards, in my mind, should be only used for emergencies or to boost your credit. And in that aspect, I mean, okay, I know I have $200 in my bank account, right? And I have a cell phone bill that is $60. So instead of taking my debit card and paying for that cell phone bill, or taking my cash and paying for that cell phone bill, I'm going to use my credit card to pay for that cell phone bill. Then I'm going to take my cash and pay off on that credit card. That will help boost my credit. Another thing people don't realize is that, say you're making your way towards being debt free, you're slowly paying off your debts. Closing your accounts isn't always the best thing. Closing out your accounts is specifically, I'm talking about, and closing off your accounts basically mean paying off your accounts, right? Your idea is like, I got to pay this off as soon as possible. Here's the thing. The oldest your credit account is, say you have like I said earlier, student loan, right? Say you have a student loan. Showing you paying it on time every single month is a good thing, right? It decreases your debt to income ratio, but for the most part, it shows that you are a credible payer, that you are somebody responsible. If somebody loans you money, you plan to pay it back. That was one bad thing about me, because when I had put it in my mind, I'm like, y'all can suck it. I ain't paying y'all baloney. My money is mine. That was your fault for giving me money in the first place. Forget student loans. Whoop, whoop, right? Well, initially it showed that, what do you call that? It showed that I was defaulting on my payments. Now, if you don't know, like Hurricane Harvey, I live in Houston, Texas. We got hit with, Hurricane Harvey and all that stuff. At some point, they were like, hey, do you want to defer or something like that? It's been so long. Do you want to put a pause on your payments? That way, because we know you guys are having a hard time out there in Houston. I was like, sure. Sure. If you want to put a pause on my payments, fine. I don't know if self-consciously I was like, maybe one day I'll pay this back, all these thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars. Maybe one day I thought, maybe I'll pay it back. And I say, yeah, go for it. Put a pause on it. Or maybe, I don't know what I was thinking. I'm glad I did it because it saved me a lot. But for some reason, even though I knew I didn't at the time have the money, I decided, yeah, put the pause on it. And that it was, I don't know, it was a good thing for me because it didn't show me having so many late payments. It just shows that, hey, there's a pause on the account for right now. Once you're finally out of debt, saving becomes so much easier. Matter of fact, you'll see once you're out of debt that you have money that you didn't realize you had before. And you realize, oh, wait, my money is stacking up real quick. I say, though, when you start seeing this money and you're like, okay, yeah, now I don't have to put so much money toward debts. I'm cool. I can just start using this money for whatever I want. I say, don't do that. Don't do that. Stick to being that same type of, okay, I was tight. I made sure I did this, this, and that. I'm going to take that same money that I would have put towards, my debt, but since I'm debt free, I'm going to start saving this money, putting it up. I'm not going to splurge and become blowing it just because I can't. Now, I ain't going to tell you what to do with your money. I'm just telling you what I did. I say this to say because saving can take you to a new level. For instance, I'm going to drop a gem right here, something you probably never knew about or heard about. There's a method where you can become your own bank. It's called borrowing from your life insurance policy. You have to have whole life insurance. That's why I always recommend everybody get insurance. Now, what this is that, okay, you know how you have car insurance. Every month you pay car insurance. And this is for if you were to get into an accident, they will take that money and, fix your car. However, this is this is contingent on if something ever happened. If you were to never get into an accident, well, guess what? All your money keeps going to them, and they get to just keep your money. Hello. But unlike that, this whole life insurance, this is insurance on your person, yourself. You can borrow your own insurance money. This is how the rich do it, right? You can borrow your own insurance money. So say if you have a $500,000 policy, meaning if you die, your family members or whoever you have as your beneficiary gets $500,000. You can be like, yo, insurance company, I would like to borrow $100,000 of my money, of my life insurance policy. And they'll be like, okay, and they can't deny you, it's your money, and give you $100,000 from your life insurance. Of course, you got to pay your premium up, whatever your premium was for that year. You have to pay it up. Now, I did say borrow, so not technically, but yeah, it's borrowing, so you should be paying it back. However, if you do not pay it back, say you borrowed $100,000 from your $500,000 insurance policy, if you do not pay it back, guess what? If you were ever to die, we're all going to die one day, right? If you were to kick the bucket, sad, blah, 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 instead of your family members getting $500,000, they would only get $400,000. You see how that is? So yes, you should be paying it back, but you technically do not have to pay it back. This is stuff we aren't being taught. This happened. If you have a whole life insurance policy and you've put money in, just like you've been putting money in every single month, every single year into your car insurance, unlike your car insurance, you can actually take that money back out. You can take it back out. Now, I say this all to say, your girl hasn't done this. And the reason being is because you gotta, be a healthy little duckling, unlike yourself. You guys know. Well, I don't know. This podcast, you guys might tune in. You don't know I have a YouTube channel or whatever. And on a YouTube channel, I do talk about having, CC, aka cancer. So I wouldn't be the best candidate for them to do this because they're like, ooh, because they test you when you if you ever want to do your whole life insurance, they come out, they get blood work done and everything to make sure you're a healthy little duck and you're not just be like, yeah, take that money and just go on a blow spring because you never plan to pay it back because, if you're dying or whatever. But since, the whole cancer thing, they wouldn't let me do it. So, but that's not to say you can't do it. You feel me? So yeah, get yourself a whole life. Honestly, you guys should have life insurance anyway. Like life insurance, matter of fact, you can get life insurance as little as like in 5 minutes, pay like $10 a month for $400,000 life insurance. Matter of fact, I'll put a link down below for an insurance company that I have multiple policies. This is one policy with this insurance company that I have. So I'll put a link down below so you guys can check them out. But yeah. This is so that money that you're saving, if you're out of debt and you're like, well, what should I be putting my money towards? Put your money towards your life insurance policy. That way, it's like a bank account, not just any life insurance, whole life insurance. not term life, because term life is a different thing. Whole life insurance, right? So you could do that. Take your money, put it to that, and then become your own bank. Anytime you need to borrow from yourself, borrow like $50,000 from your home life insurance policy. Say, I'm going to go buy this house, flip it, pay my life insurance policy back, and I have money in my pocket to go take it and do some other, ventures, start my business over there. Now, I say start my business. I do preach about that a lot, though. I know this is about that video, but whatever. You come to listen to me talk. But I preach about that a lot, being your own boss and entrepreneurship. And I do. But I also understand that entrepreneurship is not for everybody, right? A lot of people find security in that 9-to-5 thing. I just kind of see 9-to-5 as like not a scam, but I feel like it's just because you're stealing a person's time away, Like, I love the idea of you get that consistent check every single week or every 2 weeks or every month or whatever. But the fact that it's just like, dang, you're taking my life away. You're taking my time. But I get it. People like their security in knowing that have that check. And another thing is that's because you have that. When you're an entrepreneur, your money fluctuates. Therefore, how much of your debt, I'm tying it back into debt. How much of your debt each month can you pay changes, right? So with a 9-to-5, for a fact, if I come in and work 80 hours every 2 weeks, my check guaranteed will be $2,000 every 2 weeks, right? I know for a fact, guaranteed, I can pay $200 towards my debt every 2 weeks, right? Entrepreneurship, you're like, that month, that bi-weekly, I made $2,000. Next week, I might only made $1,500. The week after that, I might only made $1,800. Week after that, I made $3,000. It's that up and down, up and down, up and down. You never know for sure. It always changes. And this video, I feel like this podcast, I feel like will be like incoherent. I'm all over the place. Another thing is, I want to talk about when you're debt free, there's something called leveraging your credit cards. For instance, like I was saying earlier, pay off, don't touch your credit cards unless you have the money right away to pay it back. For instance, there's like Discovery and there's Navy Federal and there's all these other banks where, I'm going on a trip next week. I need to pay for my hotel. You know what? I'm going to pay for it with my credit card where I know that they will give me cash back. And then I can pay off that credit card with the money I originally was going to use. I can use my cash to pay off that credit card. And then guess what? I got cash back. I got paid essentially for going on that trip. This is how you do the workarounds. Now, if you're wondering like, well, you're not really telling us how to be debt free. I mean, what's to tell you? You already know it's about having the money to pay off the debts. If you have the money to pay off the debts, well, then that's how you become debt free. Debt free is not necessarily you just wake up the next morning debt free. Everybody has to go through this. It takes years to be debt free. Years. It takes years. You might not want to hear it, but that is the truth. It's a little by the little thing. I say that when I got rid of all my debt kind of like in one foul swoop. But at the same time, it wasn't like, I have debt today, I'm debt free tomorrow. No, it was still some years until I finally decided, okay, let's just pay this all off. So, I got to edit this thing down like for real because I don't even know if this is going to be coherent. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for checking me out. I'll see you guys on another time. Me out.
You heard it from your girl, Shauna Sagaji. Be sure to subscribe on your preferred platform like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and many others. Shauna out.